I think there's a misconception that women's basketball can't get people to the games. I think that if you build it, they will come, you
Yeah.
know. And so it takes time, to build anything and patience you need. But
Hmm.
I think they're really building things properly. Um,
Yeah.
it's something like really special happening, um, just across the board. So I'm, again, repeat myself. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited. I've had, a fair bit of experience writing on the women's side too before I even coaching.
Hey, what's going on? I am Ramsey Said What. This is the A Side B Side podcast, a branded podcast by What's the Movement.net. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to press play. But while you're here, why don't you rate, subscribe, and review the podcast wherever you listen to it, because we're available everywhere you can watch and listen to podcasts, as well as on What's the Movement.net as always. But this episode is like a bucket list episode for me. I've been meaning to sit down with this guy for years. Me and him go way back to our Willie P radio days. He is now shifted from radio to writing print for music magazines all over. You may have heard of Double XL. In addition to Slam Magazine, moving into basketball, and now he's currently on the coaching staff of Iona Women's Basketball. We talk about all of that and more. Our guest in this episode is Christian Mordi. Uh, Thank you for coming on again, brother. Everybody else, we're not even going to waste any time. I need you to feel this. What's going on? I am Ramsey Said What. This is the A Side B Side podcast, the branded podcast by What's the Movement.net. As always, thank you guys for listening. Press play, the whole nine. You can follow us on social at What's the Movement, A Side B Side. If you care about me, Ramsey Said What. But we're not here about me today. Um, I'm here with a very, very special guest. I'm very excited we got to make this happen too, man. It was a long time coming, even like longer than before we started organizing it. Like this should have happened a long time ago, for real.
Yeah, we go way back, man. We
Yeah.
go way back. So,
But
you know,
I like to let my guests introduce themselves. So take it away.
hey, I'm Christian Morty. Um, I don't know even where to start with it. Was heavy in radio and music, an editor at a bunch of magazines, and I love to write. I love the industry, and it's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, assistant coach of Iona Women's College team.
Yeah, and now I'm in Division 1 basketball. I made it
Yeah.
in my career, and now I'm in basketball and was doing stuff on the Nike EYBL circuit, and led me to where I am right now.
That's amazing, man. Like that's like I feel like that's the thing. Like I feel like brothers from Jersey really love the two things, like hoop and hip hop. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. I mean, I just was arguing with somebody today at work, and I just was saying, no disrespect to any other state in the area, but I felt like New Jersey basketball in the past 15 years, there's no state pound for pound size wise, it's had the impact that we've had.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
it's
look
it's just a
at
fact.
it's a fact. I mean, last year alone, we had three top 10 players in America in high school.
Hmm.
This year we have Dylan Harper, number 2 player in America.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's staying home.
yeah, and he's staying home. And now you're starting to see the value in regards to staying close to home and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be the trend. People are going to stop, going far away if they can, play in front of their family and their friends. And, you see a place like Rutgers putting so much money into, their brand. They're in the Big
Hmm.
Ten now. And I think it's happening on the men's side, the women's side. Last year, they had the number 2 overall pick, Diamond Miller
Yep.
from New Jersey.
Hmm.
Got the Poldo twins. They're in high school now. They're signed by
Yeah.
Coke with
I
massive
was gonna go
deals.
see them. I was gonna go see them at this tournament. Like Sunday was it?
Yeah,
But my lady got sick. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay home. It's raining,
yeah.
but
Their box office. Their box
yeah.
office. They're fearless. I've known them and their dad for a pretty long time. They can score it. They're smaller, but they're fearless. They can shoot it at a high level, and
Mhm.
The special players, special players. I mean, obviously you got, the women's game is booming just in general.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna
women,
ask about that because I could talk about that forever.
yeah, yeah. So I think now's a special time, in regards to women's basketball and what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So,
Yeah,
I'm happy to be a part of it. That's for sure.
yeah, that's a fact. So like I feel like I've watched women's basketball probably seriously starting in high school. So I'm from Neptune. I don't know if you know Cy Essence and Shakina Richardson.
So, okay, of
Um,
course. So
yeah.
you know Christina Fogy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Um,
that kind of area. So
yeah. And then
yeah,
Colts Neck used to have a good team back there with Brooke Hampton.
yeah,
She ended up going to like West Virginia. So like it
yeah.
was a lot of like good players coming out of the shore when I was in high school. So it was a
And
very
still on. The
yeah.
show has a lot of talent. Um, Dad, this girl, Caitlin Flannery. I think
Oh
she
yeah, from she started at Manasquan, then
Yep,
transferred. Yeah,
yep. And she's the all-time leading scorer at Michigan now. And then you got the Mayberry twins,
yeah.
one's an assistant coach at Notre Dame, the other
Mhm.
one's in the league.
Yeah,
Um,
she's on Chicago, I think.
yep. And so yeah, I mean, there's been just a ton of talent down in the shore. I mean, having the hoop group down there and
Yeah,
that your own space that's really, I mean, for the most part, really dedicated to women's ball.
yeah,
Um, they have, something really special going on there, And this was
yeah,
down, there literally this weekend at St. John Vianney. And
yeah,
just to sustain that success for that long, it's impressive. I'm seeing
yeah.
championships from them, 1999, 2000,
Mhm.
so it's like crazy the success. And, you know, when you build something like that for so long, you see people just popping out to the games, It's
Yeah.
kind of similar to like I know this is a bit of a reach, but it's like Friday night football and like
Mhm.
different states, and there's just like people that they'll shut the city down and go watch the
Yeah.
games. That's how it is in St. John Vianney.
I
Like
mean, I don't think that's that big a reach, right? Like, so like short conference championship time or like the finals in the tournament, they'd have it down at Poland Spring and Toms River, and that's a big
it's a
stadium,
big, it's a big space.
and it'd be sold out for women's and men's game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do an event every year at Monmouth, and they sell it out too.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think there's a misconception that women's basketball can't get people to the games. I think that if you build it, they will come, you
yeah,
know. And so it takes time, to build anything in patience you need. But
hmm
I think they're really building things properly. Um,
yeah,
it's something like really special happening, um, just across the board. So I'm, again, repeat myself. I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm excited. I've had, a fair bit of experience writing on the women's side too before I even coaching. So just doing
Yeah, so to sorry to interrupt. So Mordi is the editor in chief of the Dribble Drop. Let's talk about that. Like what got you into that? Because I know you also I know you interned at Slam and then you wrote at Slam for a bit too, right?
so you want me to start with the dribble drop or slam?
Let's go to the Dribble Drop and get into it. Which
Uh,
came first?
Slam.
Okay, let's talk about Slam.
You sure? All
Yeah.
right. So um I don't know where to start with this. Long story short, I'm not this is gonna sound cheesy, but it's true.
Okay.
But it's true. And my friends will tell you if they ever watch this, I'm sure they will. Um, I was the corny kid that had the slam up posters on my wall, like buying
Okay.
a magazine and the posters all across my wall,
Yeah.
and all the copies of the magazines, in my room. And I was that guy. I was a
Yeah.
basketball junkie, like junkie, like
hmm
for real. Just and I just absorbed all of it. For some reason, like I was just infatuated with being, even when I was young, trying to be ahead of the curve. I wanted to know, appreciate where things was, and I was excited to know where it was going. And so I tell people all the time, I've been really lucky and blessed that I've been able to get the level of jobs that I have but
Mhm.
I've always done what I wanted. And I tell
Mhm.
people all the time, like, you can have what you want from a career if you're willing to put in the work and you
Yeah.
just put yourself in a correct space. Um, I started out actually when I was doing work for Double XL, and I'll tell you about the whole Double XL experience later on. But
Okay.
in regards to focusing for Slam, um, I started interning there first, and I did that for like a year, and then I was taking over their WNBA stuff. And
Mhm.
so I was like their head stuff on college basketball women's and their WNBA. And so this is like, I mean, this is back when Angel McCutcheon was in her prime, and then
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've interviewed everybody. I was at Skylar Diggins' first game in New York with Hove on the sidelines.
Oh man.
She signed to Rock Nation.
Yeah.
I was there for, I mean, the Sue Birds, the Cheryl Swoops, the Cynthia Coopers,
Oh man.
Keith
Oh,
Leslie.
that's going even further back. That's going Houston
Yeah,
Comets. That's not even a team anymore, you know?
yeah. But I interviewed all of them. I've been
That's
blessed enough
amazing.
to interview, all those type of people, and you know, really kind of, put my head down and started working with that. And that led to me getting an editor position there. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I ran Slam Radio and I did their radio show for a
Mhm.
while as well. Um, it's a great experience, man. I'm lucky, I'm blessed. Not a lot of people don't get to do what they love for not for their first job. They may get to it later on in life
Yeah.
sometimes, but for me to be fresh out of college, considering all the things I had been through and where I was,
Mhm.
it's rare. I tell people all the time, and shout out to my boy Michael Medium.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was gonna get to that too.
you
Shout out
know,
to Mike.
yeah, it's true. We sat in that radio station
Mhm.
at second office, and we told each other he's gonna work for Hot 97, and I'm gonna work for Double XL. And we didn't know how we were gonna get there,
Yeah.
not at all. But you know, we spoke on it and we breathed life into it. And so it's a firm belief if you're willing to put in the work and just relentlessly pursue your passion, anything's possible.
Yeah. Um, so for context, guys, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but Morty, man, you paved some serious you paved a serious way for a lot of the people that came after you at that radio station. Let me tell you, man. Between like me and Nina and Dana Lou, like, because and this is no shade to a station that gave us all great opportunities, you know, but like they weren't really trying to mess with hip hop because the formula they had and I mean, it was working, you know, they were winning all the IBS awards and stuff like that. So, and I think in their eyes, they didn't really want to go the hip hop route until the come up radio star.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really want to do hip hop music. I mean, I think it was because a lot of people weren't fully committed, you
Mm,
know, wasn't, willing to put in the work. Like, I mean, again, like, and Mike he could tell you all the music that was in that thing,
hmm
90% of that music, hip hop music was me. I'm talking
yeah,
about hours sitting there editing songs,
yeah, on Pro
putting out
Tools.
the
Mike
like
actually
literally,
taught me how to use Pro Tools at that radio
yeah,
station.
yeah. And like literally sitting there just the excuse was, oh, you can't do it because we don't have rap music or we don't have R&B music. And so, okay, all right, well, what happens is if I just go and just make it on my own, you
Hmm
know? And so I started doing that. I just kept like putting in the work, putting in the work. And so I had enough so that when it was time for me to have my own show, I kind of had everything aligned and then I just kept pushing at it. So
hmm
they really didn't want to do hip hop music that much. They had their own, you know, thing about it. And I got really lucky in a sense of like I was willing to take a time that no one else is willing to take.
hmm
You And I think that really opened the door for me. Like my show
What
was
time was that? What was your slot?
my slot was on Mondays
Hmm
at 9 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
Now, most people did initially when I started. No one wanted that slot. No one.
Yeah,
No
that's
one
that's
wanted.
a. I don't know if I would want it.
Yeah, it's an ugly slot. No one wanted it. no one wanted 9 to 12 or 12 to 3.
Hmm.
Um, I always wanted 9 to 12. And I'm gonna tell you why. I knew that I could get it. I knew that I could maximize um that opportunity the best. Think about it, right? I'm in radio, got a
Hmm.
show from 9 to 12, right? For the people I have on my show from the West Coast at 6 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Now you got people that's off of work, now they can tune
Hmm.
into the show too. So I was thinking like not just having a show and it being like big here. I want it to be big everywhere,
Yeah.
you know? And so I had the vision of, okay, it's gonna be some long nights, but you know, I knew that I could grow the brand best at that time with not having like a lot of people on my back and bothering me and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
um initially when they gave me that slot, they just kind of I know they thought I was just gonna flop.
Yeah.
I know they did. They thought I would do it for a week or two and then that was about it.
Hmm.
But um, you know, I had a couple big shows and I had this one episode, and shout outs again to my boy Mike because he was there with me every step of the way.
Hmm.
Um, I couldn't have done it without him. And we actually this is kind of crazy. Um, and we looking back at it, we were kind of ahead on a lot of things. Um, we had a show. I don't want to call it similar to like Tiny Desk in a sense,
Hmm.
but the setup in regards to the radio
Yeah.
station.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
we cleared out the main area and we brought in a live band
Yeah.
and we did an actual live stream on YouTube and all that type of stuff.
Hmm.
And
I remember that.
this is like kind of like when YouTube was just getting
Yeah.
there. We're aging ourselves here, but you
Yeah.
know,
A little bit.
yeah. But that wasn't something people were normally doing, on a regular basis.
No.
I did that, and then I had some big guests on the show.
Hmm.
R.I.P. Fred the Godson. I had
Yeah.
him on the show, and then I had Amanda Seals.
Oh, wow. Flow tree in there.
Yeah, Amanda Seals. This is before the Insecure days.
Yeah. I
This is
literally just finished watching that. Like I was just sitting there watching it.
yeah,
Like rewatching it.
yeah. I have to rewatch it too. I haven't seen the end. I'm
Oh, I ain't gonna say
starting
nothing.
right now. Yeah, don't ruin it for me. Don't ruin it for me. But I just went all over the place with that. Um, actually, funny thing is, I'm actually binge watching another show that I didn't finish. This is Sex in the City, but we'll get to that later
Okay.
on. Which is interesting. My friends always find that very interesting, but I can tell you my thought process on that later. Um, but yeah, once I had her on the show, um, it took off, and then I interviewed G Easy. Uh,
Mm,
interviewed G Easy. This is when he was like going back and forth between San Francisco and New Orleans. He was on tour with Drake. Um,
okay.
I met him at ASAP Rocky's first New York City show. Best show I've been in my life, underground hip hop.
Hmm.
The openers were Flatbush Zombies,
Oh.
G Easy, Danny Brown. Those are the openers. And then ASAP performed, brought out the whole mob, right?
Hmm.
He brought out Waka, he brought out Juicy J,
Yo.
and he brought out Waka Juicy and Waka Juicy. I'm forgetting somebody. Waka Juicy. It's Schoolboy Q.
So this is all right. So for context, this is like 2011, 2012, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
This is I was around that time, maybe a little bit later. This is when ASAP Rocky, this is like when he dropped his like first mixtape.
Okay.
So
But
he
this
was
is, I
like,
mean, this is blog era here.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the heat of it.
this is when it's like it's really starting to turn a corner. Like it's like this is when the blogs are like kind of like beginning to start to have a stranglehold on the game.
Hmm.
Um, which people didn't like at all.
No, no.
But yeah, so um best show I ever, watched, wrote an article on, whatever. And yeah, so I had Easy on the show,
Hmm.
and yeah, long story short, the editor of Double XL just called in and was like, offered me a job. Listen to
Wow,
the show, and I thought it was a joke, and
that's
she
amazing.
like, I'm serious. I want you to come do some work for us, and that led to Double XL, that led to Slam, and then
So in that time, you were also you, Mike, and Justin, you guys were also throwing shows yourselves. R.I.P. Santos Party House. I miss that place for real. But yeah, like so did the YouTube simulcast that, by the way, the radio stole that. They did that during my years after y'all left too.
you said
Um,
they stole it.
yeah. We were having like guests performing out in that little lobby area and stuff like
That's
that.
great.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
great.
like you want to see things like that outlive you for sure, but they definitely continued that.
Yeah, that's great. Shout outs to my intern, Nina. She was my first and only intern. She was super dedicated,
Yeah,
very smart. I'm happy to hear that she's really, carving out her lane. Um, she's really good at radio,
yeah,
good. And so she helped elevate me as well, for what I was doing.
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so was that like the inspiration behind wanting to throw shows yourself at like the Delancey or Santos or wherever you guys started throwing shows?
So I'll tell you how I started, right?
Okay.
So I had the radio show, right? The Come
Hmm.
Up, right?
Yeah.
And so what was happening was when I first started it out, I had the radio show, and what was happening was it picked up to the point in which after like the first month or so, people were sending me so much music, and I only had three
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember, it's only me or Mike. I'm editing the music. I'm trying to upload it in the system.
Yeah.
Sometimes they let me do it. Sometimes it was kind of at the makeshift.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would run out of time. And I'm like, dang, this song I didn't get to play it. I didn't get to play it. And
Hmm.
so, I'm just like, what do I do with this music? I don't want it to get dated. People are asking me to premiere it. And then there's like so much other good music that people don't know about. And so I was like, okay, well, my show's only on Mondays, but what do I do in between? And so I started a website. And
Hmm.
so, at this point in time,
Yeah.
this is when WordPress, this is when Blogger,
Yep.
this, I don't know if you remember Blogger.
Oh no, What's the Movement was a blogger site, man.
Yeah, so I started on Blogger.
Yeah.
And I thought Blogger was the easiest one to work with out of all of them. I think WordPress became the cleanest, but in
Yeah.
regards to like cut and dry, boom, like
HTML, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I'd say
I
blogger's
could
the
I
best.
could cook on that grill quick, quick.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I started with that. So I got this music, can't get it out in the show. I started with that too. So people were sending me even more stuff, like because I was not just posting it and writing like a sentence.
Hmm.
Like I would write a full piece on it. And then you probably don't remember this girl. Her name was Ashley Outrageous. She had a big blog then too. She was actually big with TDE when they blew up.
Okay.
Um, but long story short, like she was somebody that kind of like she was posting stuff, I would post stuff. We did a lot of stuff similar. And what had happened was I'm just like, okay, I got the blog. That's doing really good. And at this point in time, after like the first couple, 3 to 6 months of the radio show, I was pumping out 2 or 3 interviews a night. It got big to the point in which like I would have my month booked in advance
Wow.
easily. And then I would have a a slow week was like one person. But there were days
Hmm.
I had 2 people, 3 people, you know,
Yeah.
in a 3 hour shift. So it's like, boom, one interview. Next person, come in, boom. Next
Yeah.
person, come in. So um I just didn't have the time. And then, my friends were just like, hey, all these people. A lot of people like the music you're, supporting. And then I was going to shows in the city. I'm like, these shows are bad. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
bad. Like the openers are bad. DJs are bad. Um, it's bad. It's bad
Yeah.
business, you know, and underground hip hop at that point in time was something that was special. It was a
Yeah.
special day.
Yeah.
It
Truly.
was it was a special time. Um, and in the blog era,
Hmm.
if you think of some of the biggest artists out now, they benefited from underground hip hop
Yeah.
blogs. I could sit here and name names all day.
Yeah.
First one that pops up to me is Chance the Rapper.
Yep.
You got
Hmm.
Chance, you have Currency, you have Dom Kennedy,
Yeah.
and they really just Nipsey Hussle. A lot of people know
Yeah.
Nipsey.
Yeah.
Nipsey was a big time blog guy too.
Yep.
Um, and so I decided that I said, you know what, I'm gonna start taking some of this music and some of these people that are on my radio show, and I'm gonna start throwing shows. And so,
Hmm.
um,
So
uh,
name some of the people that you had on the show, so I don't have to. Oh,
on
not the show, but your shows in the city.
that I like the best.
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
tell
name
you
my
mine
biggest. I
after
can name
you're
my
done.
best shows, or the one you want to know the show that I felt like I made it, or you just want to know people in general.
Uh, Both. Lead
Okay,
with the one you felt like you made it.
okay. So, and shout out to Justin. Shout out to Mike. So every show I did, Mike was the only DJ, and I
Mhm.
was really big on this because I was big on the aesthetic and the vibe being um, very pure. I never did VIP. I was the host of the show. No one ever hosted my shows with me.
Mhm.
Um, I went into the crowd and never was in the back. I tried to be in the crowd, enjoying the show. When Mike wasn't DJing, he would be on the crowd. Like we were always
Yeah.
a part of the experience. There were two shows back to back that, then I knew. Like, um, my first like 10 shows are in Philly. A lot of people don't remember that. They
Okay.
weren't in New York. New Yorkers wouldn't give me a break. Like the
Yeah.
stories I can tell you about how bad I was treated is insane. Um, and I learned through life that everything happens in its according time when it's supposed to happen.
Mhm.
Now I look back at my friends in Philly, Dave Silver, he was just, nominated one of the most powerful media people in Philadelphia. I was throwing shows with Dave, you know,
Mhm.
like years and years ago before he started doing carnivals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I found my way there. I figured out how I wanted to do it. And I did my first couple shows in Brooklyn. And I was like, okay, I gotta get to Manhattan. I gotta get to Manhattan. Like,
Yeah.
and my first show in Manhattan, again, this is aging.
Mhm.
There's an artist named Young Gleesh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So I did Young Gleesh's first New York City show. Young Gleesh and ASAP Ant. And
Yeah.
so
I think I was at the ASAP Band show.
you said what?
I think I was at that show.
There's been a couple of them. But the very first one was at the Delancey.
Mhm.
And the first one at the Delancey, uh smaller venue, nice. I love that
Mhm.
place. Um, it was it was in the winter and that show happened. It literally snowed the entire day. I didn't think it was gonna happen.
Mhm.
And
That's
last
scary business.
yeah, because you put so much
Yeah.
money into it and you're just like, it's not gonna happen. And it stopped snowing around like 5 or 6, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna give it a shot. And we packed out the place. It was good, and I'll always appreciate that show. It's a special show to me because, um, I mean, really think about it. I would love for somebody to like, show me the receipts of a concert that has literally, I mean, in the crowd of my show is ASAP Rocky, not in the VIP, not in the like he's with
Mhm.
the, I have
Yeah.
this is when Fredo Santana is at his
Wow.
peak.
Yeah.
This peak Fredo. Like Chief Keef before Dirt got big, it was
Yeah. It was Fredo. Yeah.
Fredo. Fredo, a lot of people don't know that. Fredo was like the most profitable one because he owned all his music. He was
Mhm.
very, very smart. Very, very smart. Um, and they came to that show. And so and just, connections with them and Ferg and the whole mob and everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and that show happened. We did well. And literally the next day, I had a contact and uh, the Webster Hall hit me up. And so they were
Mm.
like, we're going to give you a shot. And I was like, well, when can we do it? And they were like, the only opening we have for like a month or so is in 11 days. And it was like, you got to take this one. If not, I
Yeah,
can't
you
promise.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's just your day. And so I had to sit down with, Justin and Mike. And so we were like, we want to give it a go. And so, you gotta think about this. We're young, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No
We're
older than 21, 22 at this time, right?
exactly. We're 19,
Yeah.
20, 21, 22. You ain't got no real money back then. So
Yeah.
we betting on ourselves. We betting
Yeah.
every dime we got, trying to make this happen. And so this show we did, it was at Webster Hall. It was at 11 p.m. was the doors opening. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks I'm lying. I got the YouTube link, and you can see it. YouTube, you can see it. Like, the receipts are there. Um, it was ASAP and now they call him YG Addy.
Hmm.
Much love to him because he just was on Brent's album
Yeah.
like a month ago. And it was and it was Wretch. I don't know
Yep.
if you remember Wretch.
Yeah, I remember Rich.
Wretch's first big show in Manhattan. And then it was Joey Fats. And I don't know if you remember
Hmm.
Joey
Yeah,
Fats.
I remember Joey Fans.
Joey was, signed to ASAP Yams, RIP Yams.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. We picked up Joey from the airport. We're driving to the show. We had a meet and greet, and then we headed to the venue. And I'll never forget, my phone died.
Oh,
Um, the phone died, and you know, I was getting texts, and somebody was calling me, and they were trying to tell me something, and the phone just died. And so I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. So
yeah.
eventually, my friend, I later on found he was like, yo, you got to get here right now. It's crazy. And I didn't, understand. I couldn't hear him. And when I got there, the line was like around the corner.
That's amazing.
It was bonkers. And I remember putting my phone on the charger. And I mean, I had hundreds of messages, like
Yeah.
hundreds, like beep, 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 beep.
Like your
Like
phone about to die again off of the
it,
notifications.
it was crazy. But that show was great. I mean, I had, some really good openers, um, and the show packed out. And when you think about it, I mean, 10 days of promo show is nothing.
Hmm.
Oh, and to pack it out and then yeah, a show at 11 p.m. Like imagine it's
Yeah.
9:24. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like 11 p.m. for doors to open.
Yeah.
It's
That's a late night.
That's a late
And
night.
but
And we're not talking about
it
on a
is
Friday or
Webster Hall
Saturday.
though.
So what?
This is Webster Hall back in the day though.
Yeah, this is like on a Tuesday. This
Wait,
isn't a
nah, that
Friday or
changes things a
Saturday.
lot. That changes things by a lot. A Tuesday.
Yeah, this is like a Tuesday. So I was very happy with that and proud of my brother Mike. He did a great job. He
Yeah.
did a great job commanding the crowd. And um after it was done and we split up that money, I was like, yo.
Yeah.
I- And then you walk outside and you see the people and you're just like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
It's definitely it.
And
And
then later you'd go on to have, like the Rhapsodies of the world come and do shows and
yeah,
and Scotty ATLs.
yeah, yeah. And that was cool. Fredo, I booked
Yeah.
Fredo. That was cool. You had Maxo Cream. He ended up being pretty
Yeah.
big. I did his first. Um, I did some stuff with Pro Era. Uh,
Hmm.
so I've booked some pretty cool people. Again, I was blessed. And the funny thing about it is, At one point, it got so crazy that I was throwing like 3 to 4 shows a month.
Hmm.
It was getting very, very hectic for me.
Yeah, I remember like you might have like Dougie F headline on one day. And
Yeah,
Dougie seems like clutch. Like if sometimes I remember going to a show and he wasn't on the bill and then he'd just be up there performing. And as a person that throws shows now myself, I know exactly what happened probably. Somebody might have
yeah,
backed out and you just gotta make it happen.
yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of situation.
Yeah, there was times, and I mean, the first time Dougie actually performed at one of my shows, it was planned. It was
Okay.
planned.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was, and Dougie's from my area. He's from Orange, New Jersey. That's
Hmm.
I grew up at as well. I lived in Montclair, but I was born in Orange. I lived in Orange when I was
Hmm.
younger. So always made a. It was important to me to always have people from Jersey on my show,
Yeah.
and I never did a show in New York that somebody from New Jersey wasn't on the show
That's
because
dope.
I felt the way about it about how we just never got a fair shake, you
Hmm.
know, and I tried to use my platform to give people a fair shot at things.
Yeah.
Was I perfect? No, no, I made mistakes.
Yeah.
But I tried. A lot of people weren't even giving people a chance, and I tried.
Yeah.
Um, but Dougie's first time, a lot of people don't remember this. This is funny. Um, Dougie's first time with us, it was at the Delancey,
Hmm.
and there was this artist that was signed. He's one of the first artists signed to Vice.
Okay.
His name was De Niro Ferrar.
Hmm.
And De Niro went on tour with Denzel Curry. I don't know if you know who Denzel Curry
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. Of course.
but he went on tour with him, and I booked him for the show. The show sold out. It was all those like Vice and all those people were there.
Hmm.
Big time radio execs, record execs. Um, Dougie opened the show, and this is when Dougie actually was on tour with Travis Scott.
Uh, so this
Dougie,
is the backup on it time,
huh?
right? Or
Before,
before? Before?
like
Okay. So this
right,
is like Yellow Do Rag.
no, before
Before that. Okay.
before that. And you know, Dougie actually he's pulled those songs down, which kills me because the music he was making was insane.
Yeah.
He kind of made music that kind of sounded like Travis Scott. Dougie is an amazing performer.
Yeah.
And
That's
like
true.
he's really, really good at it. And the music he was making sonically, it just was so intense.
Hmm.
And like I was like, this guy is like he's good. Like he could be a star. Like he's
Yeah.
that good. Like the presence, the passion. It didn't seem forced. Like, you know, big fan of Dougie, and then he goes on and he, drops back up on it, which goes crazy. Then
Yeah.
he goes on tour. Um uh then he does a song with Pitbull and
Hmm.
still makes, good music and stuff like that. Incredibly talented.
Yeah. What I remember about him, so this is maybe like 2014, 2015. I'm like doing so I was writing for a couple of blogs myself at that time, and I was
Mm,
going to do press for Trilectro, this festival out in DC.
okay.
And so I'm like backstage and I run into him there. I had no clue he was on the bill there. And this is like 3, 4 states away, so like
Mhm.
that's really like a ode to his hustle and grind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dougie's hustle was through the roof.
The
He had a great team behind him. He was an incredibly hard worker. He's gifted. Um, and I'm excited to see where he takes things, long term, but he's incredibly good at his craft, you
Yeah.
know. And there's a lot of people in Jersey that, were I didn't just book people to book them. I booked them because they were good.
Yeah.
Like Kush Kells was good, Dougie was good,
Mhm.
Gretch was good, Dash, Damon's Dash's, nephew Dash was good.
Yeah.
Like they were good at what they did.
I didn't know he was related. I had no idea.
Yep, he's He's Damon Dash's nephew.
That's crazy.
He's good. Like they were really good at what I mean. Shout outs to King Thelonious and Wretch,
Hmm.
10-year anniversary of their last mixtape they did together.
Hmm.
Polo Sporting Goods.
10 years is crazy. That
Polo. One of my favorite mixtapes, and so yeah, Action Bronson, ASAP, Ab Soul on it. Um,
yeah.
it's great piece of work. So y'all check that out. Definitely dope.
Is the Come Up Radio still the website still around?
And I
No,
I
you got
just
the archives somewhere though, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sitting on some heat.
Okay.
I'm sitting on heat. I'm sitting on Dom Kennedy interviews. I'm sitting on Dizzy Wright
Wow,
interviews, Rhapsody interviews, ASAP Yam interviews.
that's
I'm sitting
big.
on a lot of cool shit. I just never got around to putting a lot of that stuff up. You know.
Yeah. Nah, whenever I got anything big like that ever came down the pipe, I'll put it out immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
Justin he gets angry at me all the time, and he'll come, and I'll just pull out the recorder or something, and I'll just let him hear a snippet of some of the stuff. He's like, "Yo, you're crazy, man." He's like, "Why would you not put that out?" Like,
like
you
a
know,
Yams interview would go crazy today, by the way. Like just
yeah,
so
to
you
hear
know.
to hear a ASAP Yams interview, like a real one,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of stuff I did release. I mean, I released Kevin Abstracts. I released
Hmm.
Denzel Curry's, Puya's. I released I had Playboy Cardi's first interview ever in radio.
Wow.
This is when I was because after I left Willie P, my radio show got picked up by Nipsey Hussle. And so I
Okay.
was on Dash Radio. And my first guest on the show was Playboy Cardi. I did
Nice.
Playboy Cardi's first show, New York City
Yeah.
as well. So I did his first one. Um, so I released some good stuff. I've given a lot, you know. Some stuff is just for myself.
Yeah. I understand. God rest his soul, Jerome.
Yeah, yeah, man. This was a time and era which people were passing away way too young,
Yeah.
you know. I don't think that those things would have happened now today. You
Hmm.
know, think about, I tell people all the time, ASAP Yams was the Damon Dash of our era.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about it, you know how many people like Yams found and helped elevate their career from Atlanta,
Yeah.
York, from LA. Um, really just capitalize on the social media movement
Yeah. I was gonna say the internet, man. At that time, like that's when it started to happen.
to master it. I
Yeah.
mean, this is when Tumblr first. People don't even remember Tumblr.
Oh,
Like,
that's where What's the Movement started, and then it
yeah,
went to Blogger when I got a
exactly.
domain for it.
People
Yeah.
don't even remember Tumblr. Like, the mob started on Tumblr,
Yeah.
blew up on Tumblr, and then jumped up to different
Yeah.
platforms and stuff like that. He
What's it
was
called? The Weekend like broke Tumblr when
yeah,
Echoes of
yeah.
Silence dropped. Like the whole app wasn't working. Like the app, the website, none of it.
This is when nowadays you get a lot of artists with fake streams,
Hmm.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and bots and
This is
yeah,
this is when you said the weekend broke Tumblr, that wasn't no fake stuff.
yeah,
That was real. Like night Tumblr.
yeah,
Like real people were actually locked in.
yeah.
Like,
At 11:59, it broke,
yeah,
and like I remember pressing play on the first track and it stopping in the middle of it. I refreshed my page, just didn't work. Like
yeah,
that was it at that time.
yeah, yeah. It's a special time, but I think nowadays, I think that with the resources that people have around them, um, some of those things, you know, might have been monitored. It's kind of like we don't understand certain things and the danger that those things
Mhm.
do, you know, especially when you're young. And I would like to think me,
Mhm.
uh, that, we wouldn't lose two great people like that, you
Yeah.
know. So just great for great for music, just in general, not just rap music, but just great for music,
Yeah.
uh, in general. So both going too soon.
Yeah, man. Um, so we talked about the come up, talked about the dribble drop, we talked about slam. Coaching now. All right. So you graduate, you did those jobs, you did double XL. Um, you if I read in your bio correctly, because I do some research, you coached at Keene first, or
Yeah,
Kane rather.
yeah, yeah. I did that first. I started on the men's side, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um, and then I coached on the Adidas circuit. This is back when Zion was on the Adidas circuit.
Oh man.
I don't know why, but he was crazy. Um, and then I started the dribble drop actually,
Okay.
and that's kind of when I started it. And my brother Justin, he runs a page. He actually just did an event at Roosevelt Catholic last week.
Mhm.
Um, Shout out to NG Hoop
NJ
Recruit.
recruit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so my brother, was, you know, selling dope off the iPhone.
Yeah. Nah, for real. Go to
Literally,
Dykeman and the whole nine.
just off the iPhone recording, and now he's top notch, production with his stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it started out, I was like, yo, whatever we do on the men's side, we got to do on the women's side.
Yeah.
In my background with WNBA and college ball on the women's side, I had an appreciation for it, and kind of just did my thing. I stepped into my lane,
Yeah.
and you know, that was doing good. I was doing highlights on girls, and
Hmm.
that was great. No one else was really doing it then.
Yeah. I remember you doing like Q&As with a lot of the athletes and the coaches too. So like that's something like outside of your local papers, you're not really seeing that.
I've got stuff with, if you keep scrolling on my Instagram, I've got stuff on Diamond Miller. I've got stuff on Olivia Miles,
Hmm.
Angel Reese. Like, I mean, Angel Reese is huge now.
Yeah.
I've known Angel since she was, a sophomore, junior in, high school. Yeah, she would be
Wow.
like, ask me to come out to the games and stuff like that. And so, um, I started to throw a tournament. I threw my own
Hmm.
event at Patterson Kennedy, right near
Hmm.
Willie B.
Yeah.
And basically because I had such great relationships with the high school coaches, um, I had some of the best teams in the state playing my event.
That's
And
amazing.
after that, then met so many good people, and someone was like, "Why aren't you coaching?" Like, because at this time I wasn't coaching.
Hmm.
It was like, all the right people. You clearly know the game. Why aren't you coaching? And I just at that point in time, I just was exhausted with everything,
Yeah.
and then I got an opportunity on the EYBL circuit to coach, and
Hmm.
then that led to my first college job, and this is around COVID, so I actually got hired at St. Pat's to be their girls basketball coach, and then COVID hit and got rid
Hmm.
of the program. And
Oh man.
things happen, just
Yeah.
things happen, man. Things, like I always say, things are always according to a plan. I was crushed when St. Pat's decided to get rid of their girls program, but then 6 months later, I'm at the Division 1 level.
Yeah.
The space I always wanted to be in. So
Yeah.
kind
I
of never.
can truly say, like, when it comes to women's hoops, and this is no shade to the WNBA because I enjoy it as well. But I've always enjoyed college hoops. I like watching. I think it's because I like watching them come up and then watching what they do in the league afterwards too. But college hoops is kind of where I think I fall in love with my next favorite like athlete, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you know what it is? When it gets to that next level, the difference is the advert. It's just starting to pick up on the
Hmm.
WNBA. The advertising, in my opinion, is way stronger on a
Yeah,
college side.
yeah, for sure.
People are not just buying in. And here's the thing: people are buying into Caitlin Clark, right?
Yeah.
Random. They're buying into Caitlin Clark, but more importantly, they're buying into Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa's been big before Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And after Caitlin Clark is gone, it will still be big.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Maryland's been big forever. LSU's
Hmm.
been big forever.
Yeah.
UConn's been big forever. And so, you're kind of buying into the brand that they've invested so much, in time.
Hmm.
And eventually the league on the girls' side is going to catch up. And it
Yep.
is. You know?
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, I've been to a bunch of Liberty games this season because I caught Liberty Aces last game of the regular season. That was a shootout.
Yeah. And the girls' game just in general has come a very long way. And, not saying it's perfect, no game is
Hmm.
perfect. Um, but I tell my friends this all the time, and I think it took some of my friends to come to some of my games. A couple of my friends that came to my championship game last year,
Hmm.
and they're just like, these girls are big, fast, and strong,
Yeah.
athletic,
Hmm.
like athletic. I see some girls 6'6", 6'7", that run the floor like deer,
Yeah.
like touching the rim, doing like the girls' game is going fast.
Yep.
Is going fast because the resources have elevated too as well.
Hmm.
Um, and when you think about it, like sports just in general right now, I do believe that basketball is becoming a pay to play. Um,
Yeah.
and it's
That's
not
fair to say.
not to agree with it. But when you really think about it, right, when you're a boy and you play high school ball or AAU
Hmm.
ball,
Yeah.
play, you get on a team and then, hey, mom, we have a game in Philadelphia this weekend. Go with your coach,
Yeah.
right? Your coach comes to pick you up, you go to the game. A
Yep.
lot of people will do it like that.
That
On the
sounds like my
girls,
Saturday morning.
yeah, and on the girls' side, it's different. You know, girls have a game and they're like, mom's going, dad's coming, the
Yeah.
family's coming, they're booking the hotels. It's an experience. And
Mm.
so there's a lot of money being invested. I hate to say it. Parents invest more in their daughters than they do their sons
Mm.
from a financial standpoint. I've had same parents would complain about paying $500 for their son, would give 1,000 for their daughters.
Wow. That's an
Easily.
interesting take.
Go to think about it. You've been to Liberty games, right?
Hmm.
About it. The closer you get to the floor, compare it to an NBA game, right? You go to a Knicks game. If you go to the top, you see the pure fans. They may not have the most money, but these are
Yeah.
the diehard Knicks fans. They've been going to those games for 30 years. Mom, dad coming with
Yeah.
his son. Now his son's there, and this is what they do.
Yeah. It's
They go to a couple games,
generational. Yeah.
and they're true to it, right? But as you get closer to the floor, right, you don't see that anymore. What do you
Yeah.
see? You see money.
Yeah.
You see
Hmm.
Coca-Cola there doing a business deal. You see Amazon there, people that's not even watching the game.
Yeah.
They're just there. They're just in the space, right? Now, we can talk about whether that's the right thing or wrong thing. That's a whole nother topic of
Hmm.
discussion. But think of a women's game, right? When you get down on the floor in a women's game, what do you see?
You see fans, like real fans.
Fans.
Yeah.
You see moms there with
Hmm.
their daughters. You see dads there with his little sons and daughters. Like you see people that are making it an investment. People see the NBA as entertainment,
Hmm.
right? Which is cool. The women's game is an experience. That's why it's to me. That's what
Uh,
it is. That's something that, what did you do this weekend? Oh, we went to a women's game and I met Skylar Diggins.
yeah.
Like kids could be 4 or 5 years old, little girls, and that could be the biggest thing they've done all year.
Yeah.
Like, um, that's why I think in 10 years the women's game is going to be massive
Hmm.
because of the investment, right? When people are willing to put money behind it, the only people not putting the money behind it right now, and I know it's gonna sound crazy,
Hmm.
the NBA could do more, but I feel like women could do more for the women's game.
I was gonna ask you. That was a question I was gonna follow up with because the thing I noticed that at the games, and this is both the college and pro level, I noticed that there are generally more men at the games than women. Men, I mean, whether it's wannabe hoopers or people that have hooped in the past, like that just love the game and that's why they're there.
Hmm.
But I find that there's generally more men than women at the games.
Yeah, I think for now, I think
Mhm.
it's starting to turn a corner. I think women are starting to invest in it, for many different reasons. But women spend, man, and they
Yeah,
spend, and it's a good thing, and I think as they continue to invest, more with their money.
yeah, that's
um,
valid. I mean, women spend more than men on experiences, where men spend our money on things. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And so as they continue to invest in that space to provide a good experience with their family and stuff like that, you're going to see the game grow rapidly, and it's starting to happen.
yeah,
It's starting to happen now, and that's why I said it's such an exciting time because the resources are catching up.
yeah. They need to expand again too.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to add a couple teams, and if I were to guess, at least two teams in
Yeah,
the next 5 years. I think in the next 10 years things are going to change. The games aren't going to be in the summer.
yeah.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be like double headers. So it'll be like
Like a men's game and women's game back to back.
yeah,
Like so, the Sparks are playing the Liberty, and it'll be like Clippers versus the
yeah,
Nets.
exactly.
Gotcha.
That's what I think's going to
Yeah.
happen. And so the games will be year round in the states and stuff like that. They can
So
find a way to
that would mean 82
eventually
game
make it
season,
pop,
though.
huh?
That would have to mean 82 game season, right?
Yeah, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. They don't need to sell it out to make the money. Like
Yeah. That's valid.
they don't have to. Um, if you're talking volume now,
Hmm.
uh, and I think they're playing 82 games now. They're just playing it in Russia or
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
whatever,
Yeah.
Australia,
Yeah.
playing those games, but we're just not seeing them.
Yeah.
So I just think it really comes down to making it make sense financially for everybody, you know,
Yeah.
do that. So, I think that's going to eventually happen.
Yeah. It has to happen too, because I feel like everybody loves saying super teams on the men's side, but like on the women's, it's really only like four squads
Yeah.
that got like five, like
Studs.
four future Hall of Famers, and another All Star on the team. Like it's
Look at
like
look at the Liberty now. They have
yeah,
John Quill Jones, MVP, Brianna Stewart,
hmm
MVP. Like, they have multiple
Sabrina,
MVPs on Sabrina.
yeah,
Like, they just loaded there.
Vandersloot. Like the
Yeah.
team's loaded.
That team's loaded. And it's tough because some of these players are forcing their way out of teams so that they can align themselves with
Hmm.
certain teams as well.
Yeah,
So that's a whole nother topic of discussion.
yeah,
Um, Regardless, it's making for a good experience. People
yeah,
are enjoying the games, and that's the most important thing is it's good basketball,
yeah,
right? That's how you grow the game. That's how you get people, invested is when they do. You only get people for like 5 to 10 minutes, right? Who don't know the
yeah.
sport.
Hmm.
But if you make it a good 10 minutes, you can turn that 10 minutes into 15
Yep.
and 15 into 20. And then the next time you have a game, you get another 10 minutes from them,
Yeah,
And so the most important thing is like, what do we do with our 10 minutes that we have somebody's attention? The product
yeah,
has to be really good. So,
yeah. Well, I think as of now, I think the product's never been better.
yeah,
And it's always been good as far as I'm concerned. Like we were talking about this Cynthia Cooper's, Tina Thompson, those old
yeah,
Comets teams, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
um,
yeah, that's for sure. It's in a good place.
yeah,
Definitely a good place.
that, and I think it's another reason. I mean, maybe I just wanted to expand because I like the college game so much. So like, it's tough for me to see like a Haley Jones get drafted and not play all that much because she
Yeah,
got people in front of her. Like if she were on another team, maybe she'd be the girl. You know what I mean?
You know what it is, in all honesty, and here's the truth. You got a Haley, right?
Hmm.
Great player, but you got to really think about it. It's but so many teams, right?
Yeah. It's only 12, I think, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so every team's loaded. Like
Yeah.
there's that team has the Haley before her,
Yeah.
and the Haley before her, and the Haley before her. And you got to think, like, again, look at the rosters. Big, fast, strong. Like, you got
Yeah.
kids, girls 6'3", legit 6'3", legit six
Mhm.
four,
Yeah.
legit 6'6". Like, you have to think they're all Americans that get cut.
Yeah.
Like cut. Like can't cut the mustard, cut. Like because it's only 12 teams. It's only
Yeah.
150 spots. Best 150 players in the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they're not all playing too. Like even if you're
yeah.
on the team.
Just to make it
Yeah.
one of the best 150. I mean, on the men's side, you got 32 teams, 15, 20 people on a roster. And then you got practice players, injured reserve. You
Yeah.
got way more people, right? It's cool, but the opportunity to play on the women's side,
It's
it's
tougher. Yeah.
hard.
Do you think there's like room for like a development league like the WNBA's G League?
I think that maybe 25 years from now, 2025.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to see it.
Yeah, I think we'll get to see it. I just think right now the most important thing is, to me, the next step is getting more teams,
Yeah.
getting in the biggest arenas.
Yeah.
That I think we'll see in the next, 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we'll see as it's going to take another couple injuries. Yeah, after that, then we've had a couple good ones, and that's how the doors have been opening.
Yeah.
After another couple of them, then like Caitlin Clark she's gonna change things,
Yeah.
Lead gonna change things. Like
Yeah,
she's gonna
this draft class, like they're comparing
do
it
it.
to like the like Bird and Magic, like between her and Angel. But then there's still Paige, and then there's still all
Yeah,
these other girls,
that that are extremely, extremely really good. And this would be the best draft probably since Skylar Diggins and Brittany Griner.
Hmm.
Um, that draft with Deladon. This would be the best
Yeah.
for sure. So whoever wins that, is gonna be lucky. I mean, Caitlin Clark is. I'm not even the biggest fan of her, but she's gonna be. She has the potential to have the Curry effect in the women's game.
Yeah. Like her game is like Curry meets Larry Bird, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like the way she passes the rock too.
yeah. She could pass it. She has unlimited range with her three. She can shoot it off the bounce. She
Yeah.
can shoot it catch and shoot. Um,
So if Iona has to play her, like what's the game plan, coach?
Let us pray. Father. Get the passer in there. Um, I mean, Caitlin's really good, man. Caitlin's really good. I mean, she's giving everybody buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah, 27, 28.
Yeah, and that's because they're taking her out of the game.
Yeah, she can hit shots from anywhere on the floor. It's just so hard because when you have a system designed for the ball to get in her hands, the player comes incredibly hard to stop when you have just serviceable players around her.
Yeah.
That's
Um. So what can we expect from Iona? We talked about everybody else. What's going on with you guys?
we're doing okay. We're doing okay. It's my first year there.
Hmm.
Um, we won at our last school. We won it back to back years. Um, I think we're going to be fine this year. I think we have a special group of kids.
Yeah. Same
Well,
conference too, right?
no, higher conference. I'm mid major now, so it's a
Okay.
higher conference. So which is
Gotcha.
good.
You're
The
in the
conversation levels.
MAAC or
Yeah,
MAAC?
yeah,
MAAC. Okay,
Mac.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, we just beat Providence, and that's a
Yeah.
biggie.
That's a big East. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good win. And we're just working at it every single day and trying to explain the non-negotiables to the kids. And you build the foundation right, and then the rest, like my grandma would say, the house may sway to the left, it may sway to the right, but if the foundation's right, it's always going to
It
settle
ain't
in, it
going nowhere. Yeah.
won't tip over. So it is building a foundation now.
Before we get out of here, is there anything you want to leave us with?
Ooh, that's a great question. I wasn't expecting that one. If you have dreams, go follow them.
Yeah.
For the words of Dizzy Wright, if you have a dream, go follow them. And thankful for my friends. I've been blessed with great friends that have invested a lot in me and my dreams. And I've been lucky. And like I tell people all the time, we are so quick to support somebody we don't know,
Hmm.
right? Support the people you do know. Like the same money you could put into, polo. If I could wear this polo shirt, I could buy my boy's hoodie. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I can do the same thing. Just like I'm proud to wear this, I'm also proud to go to a game and have the NJ Hoop Recruit stuff on. And
Basketball does need New Jersey, by the way, yo.
so what?
Basketball needs New Jersey for sure.
It needs it. And so we gotta always, get behind your friends, man, with great ideas and they're aspiring for big things. So I think what often happens with people is they're quick to support somebody they don't know.
Hmm.
And then when your friend finally breaks through, then you want to kind of recruit the success, but you didn't
Yeah.
invest into
Yeah.
it. And that's how you make people bitter.
Yeah.
And so I tell people all the time, man, take some time out and support your friends, man. Like it's not, it's not that hard, you know. Um, you never know that $10, $20 that may get them through a spot.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I would say just invest time in your friends. And I it's funny. And the last thing is, I had a girlfriend at the time, um, and she was really big on vision boards and stuff like that. I was not gonna lie,
Yeah.
never big on those type of things. And so sadly, I used to kind of joke with her and stuff like that. But I, I learned this. I was always a big reader, and I still am to this day. Um, but having an understanding of how to start your day is key. Like with a clear mind, with a full heart, with good intentions, um, like relentlessly pursuing your dreams and understanding your dream
Hmm.
and understanding the steps you want to take within it, right? Um, Constantly in reflection of like maximizing your day and your time. Take time out of your day. It could be 5 minutes. Did I achieve my goal? Why did I not achieve my goal?
Hmm.
Why did I not get that job I wanted? Why did my player have a bad game? What am I doing wrong? Not making myself seem like I'm 40 or 50 years old. You know, I wish I did. I think the worst mistake I made with the come up was when I decided to move on was, shout out to my friend D Goods, was just talking to him about it. Another person I had booked and a good friend and a good friend. But, he kind of scolded me the other day and he was like, yo, when you stepped away from it, you hurt New York City. Like you hurt it. He was like, yo, you really hurt the city. Like, because what you were doing was good for music.
Yeah.
And I look back at it and I was so jaded. You know, I kind of I kind of felt like I wasn't getting the respect that I deserved.
Hmm.
You begin to look at other people like turning a corner sometimes, and you're just like, why
Really?
why
Yeah.
sponsoring this person isn't doing what I'm doing. Like
Yeah. And
I've
they
been in,
don't love it either.
so what?
And they don't love it either.
I don't love it,
Not
but
the way I love it, you know.
exactly, and it's tough, because you go to these people and you don't want to compare yourself, but I was going to shows, you see people with 100 people there. I've had shows with 600, 700 people,
Yeah.
800 people. Like, And so with no major like budget, you know, um, I just got exhausted. I lost my way and forgot while I was doing it, like why I was really doing what I was doing. And I feel like if I would have been more intentional with writing down what I was doing, you know,
Mhm.
on those days when I got exhausted, I could have saw if I would have went back in my journal and saw 6 months ago where I was, right? It's like, damn, I was here 6 months ago. Now I'm here.
Yeah,
Like I know I'm tired, but just imagine where I will be at in 6 more months, you know? Um, biggest regret, biggest regret. Not saying I made a mistake in the sense of like I put my all into it and I'm very happy for that time. You never know, I may throw a show again soon.
I
Me
was
and
gonna ask. I was gonna ask.
we're thinking about it. We're definitely thinking about it. I think, in all honesty, the only reason we would do it again is uh if we could sell out something big, like
Okay.
Irving Plaza, 1,500 people type of thing.
Yeah,
Anything less than that, I wouldn't even.
maybe an anniversary show, the
Yeah,
aforementioned acts or something like that.
yeah, something big. I mean, I've sold out Webster, Santos, I sold it out. Like,
Hmm.
I can't do a show for 200, 300 people anymore. That's easy. That's like
Yeah.
I need to be challenged at this point. So
Even this far removed, you think like without a doubt, just 200, 300, no issues. That's what's up, man.
one thing I have is a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I throw it out there too much, but I'm good at what I do.
Yeah, but you also do the work too.
Yeah, and I'm willing to do work that other people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
So getting 200 to 300 people, I could do that. I could do that in a month because I'm willing to put in the work to get that.
Yeah.
But like that don't move me.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, what would impress me is if in a month's time or 2 months' time I could get 1,500 people.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, oh, why? Now you're, now you're cooking. But
Yeah.
am I gonna put the time in to do it? And that's what it comes down to. It's time,
Yeah.
you know. So
Well, it's the beginning of the season. We're not going to look out for the come up show, at least not in December.
but you never know. Maybe by the summer, you never know. Hint, hint.
Okay.
Maybe something comes spring. You never know.
Let me know. I'll do some press.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
But yo, Morty, thank you for coming up. All of his social media is in the bio. If you are watching this, thank you for watching. We're now on YouTube. If you are listening, please get to your destination. If you're doing it in the car, don't look for that description until you're parked. Because if you died while listening to A Side B Side podcast, I would feel terrible. But Morty, man, it's been an honor having you on, man. Like I said earlier, like yo, you paved the way for a lot of us to move around in that station when they
Man.
weren't trying to let it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Not it's long overdue.
Yeah.
I've been following your movement as well. I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
happy to see your growth.
Thank you,
Uh,
brother.
you have my respect. It's in general with how consistent. We're just talking about it. Just being consistent. You've been very consistent with what you do, and um, you just definitely have my respect with it. And on those tough days, you just got to keep going. You
Yeah.
know, keep going, and keep your eye on the prize of what you want long term. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, you'll get it.
Yeah.
It's time.
That's a fact. You only
Yeah.
lose if you quit.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, man.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
But fellas and ladies, thank you for listening. And